Hello, fellow creators. It's Bluebrad here. I just wanted to go over a quick project. I'm going to try to make this quick. Hopefully, within 10 minutes, you can see this. But I'm going to show you how to do intertwine and then add shadows to your objects. So here I have two strokes with a gradient on the stroke, which is one of the new effects you could do in Illustrator. You can add different gradients to strokes. And I have them as a center gradient, so it makes them look like a ring. Now, I don't want these effects to interfere with the actual shadow, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and select these. Then I'm going to duplicate my layer, so I have my originals, turn off the original. Then in there, I'm going to go Object, Intertwine, Make. Now, I want to make sure I leave a big enough space so that the shadow will be affected. But as you see, I need to hover over this area in order for it to recognize what I want to intertwine. So I'm going to go about halfway in here to about halfway in here, and I'm looking at halfway marks all the way around, and I get the intertwine. The reason why you do this is because it's going to create that shape that you draw. Now, it's not important that the shape is perfect. It's not important on any way. After that is done, if you look inside your layers, you now have an intertwine layer. That's great. Now, I need to get these circles. I'm going to duplicate that intertwine layer, leaving my original. And again, I can lock it. I don't need to turn this one off because I'm not going to make any effects to this one. Actually, I'm going to turn that one off. And then what I want to do is duplicate it again, because this one I'm going to use to make my mask. I'm going to turn that one temporarily off, and we're going to expand these effects. So first, I'm going to need to expand these effects for the strokes, because the stroke won't let me put gradients over it and knock it out. Now, there's one issue with using strokes in this in Illustrator. So when I go Object, Expand Appearance, it creates a gradient mesh. That's great if I want to edit it, but it's not so great if I want to put artwork on top of it and have it linked in. There's a neat way that I could get that pulled. So I'm going to do that to both of the layers. So let me go ahead and select the other one, Object, Expand Appearance, and then that way I have both of the appearances. And then with that selected, I'm going to go make sure I go down into this layer here and make sure I make in that appearance there. And I'm going to go Object, Path, Offset Path, and I'm just going to put 0.0001. And what that's going to do is it's going to offset it, but not very much, undiscernible to the computer's code. It is slightly bigger, but that's not going to be a problem. Even if we scale this up 1,000%, your difference is not going to be too much. All right, so now I have that invisible layer there, and then I'm going to do the same thing to the gold ring. Object, Path, Offset Path, 0.0001. Retype it, because leaving it as 0, sometimes it actually doesn't get it. Now I have those two layers. In fact, actually, I duplicated that too early. I'm going to duplicate this now. And now in the original, I'm going to delete. I'm going to delete those two. And then I'm going to delete the colored rings in the other one. So now I have my intertwines. I'm going to select those other ones. Object. And then I'm going to go Expand. Actually, don't need the strokes to expand. And then I'm going to pull out my Pathfinder and divide it. Now, the one on top, I want to keep on top, and the one on bottom, I want to keep on bottom. But I want to duplicate both of them again. So I'm going to duplicate this layer to have an original and turn that one off. I can turn this one temporarily off so I can work with it, and I'm going to label this one gold. Now, seeing which one's on top, my gold is on top up here, so the shadow would be down here. So I'd need to apply the shadow to the silver, and the silver one I need to apply the shadow to the gold. So it's actually going to be reverse. So to do that, with this selected, I'm going to turn off those, Shift M, and I get my merge layer tool. So I'm going to come in here and hit that. Oh, it didn't give me a color. Pick any color, doesn't matter what color, as long as you're going to pick two separate ones. So I'm going to pick black, and then the other one, I'm going to do red. So now I have my two rings. I'm going to have them both selected, make sure there's no stroke. All right. Now, with this one, I'm going to apply a draw within. So if you come over here to your tool palette, if you don't have this, it's Shift D twice. Oops, I hit Shift X. Shift D twice, and now I'm drawing within. Here's where I'm going to create a square. And then in that square, I'm going to apply a linear gradient, but make sure I apply it to the fill and not the stroke. Switch back to the fill here. Come on, give me my fill. Why are you telling me it's not there? All right, well, I'm selected on this white here, which I need to keep the white to the edge, bring this to 50%, duplicate the white, and then I can shift this one back down to the other edge over there. Now it's dead center, and what I want to do is make sure I have it selected, and I want to rotate it until it matches about the same position as that. Then what I'm going to do is, with it selected, I'm going to go to my appearance palette on the opacity and make sure I select multiply. As you see, it did a really nice shadow effect there. In fact, let me actually change this black into a gold color just so you can see it. And now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to come over here. Actually, what I can do is now I can direct select the gradient. I'm going to copy it. And it should be the same angle. So what I can do now is then direct select the yellow ring. I'm going to go draw within, and then I'm going to paste it. Now it pasted it dead center. I'm going to use my move tool and put the center to where it's in the center of there. Now it had kept the same settings because I copied and pasted it. Now all I have to do is where the yellow is, I want to select my yellow circle in the layers palette. I'm going to turn it off. And then I'm going to come to the inside my layers palette, select the red, and I'm going to turn it off. So it should have no fill. Now here's my shadows. Now, if I come all the way back down here to my original rings that are still technically editable and turn it on, I now have some beautiful shadows. Now, it's a little bit dynamic. So if I wanted to enhance the shadow, I now can grab that shadow box and enhance it, which I'm going to do on both. So you can just scale it up, and now you have some really nice shadows. And then if you want to add a shadow to everything, you can also do that. Oh, see, I cut it off a little bit here. I went a little too far. Can't go that far. Because then the shadow is clearly a square above it. So about right there. And then in here, I was able to go a little further, but then it's off center. Because you want to keep your center mark center, because that's where your center part is. If it's still not as harsh as you want it, what you can do is do this, copy the black over here, make sure it is actually 100% black, and you can darken up your shadow in that spot. So you can make it really dark. Doing this gives you a little bit more controls over all of your effects that you have. Oops, I actually applied. I swear I had that selected, but it was weird. Oh, I have two. That would be why. There you go. Now I can adjust my shadow. Your whites are completely transparent, your blacks are solid, and that's where you got your control. But hope this helps you for doing shadowing with Intertwine. And the only thing you would have to do to fix the Intertwine is remake your masks. But what you can do is keep these ones, adjust your Intertwine, remake your mask process, and then copy those masks back into your area. So that way you're good. And actually, I could just label as shadows, as long as they're on top right here and they're a compound path. All right. Stay creative. I hope you guys have a great night. Goodbye.